All right, welcome everyone. Today we're diving into a really crucial JavaScript protocol. Seriously, this is one of those things that's going to make your data handling way cleaner, safer, and just more efficient. So let's get right into it. So you know how it is. You're constantly looping through arrays of data. Could be crew members, sensor readings, whatever. But a lot of the time, you don't just need the item itself, you also need to know its position, its index. And yeah, there are ways to do it, but they can be kind of clumsy, a little prone to error. So how do we get both of those things, the item and its index, in one clean, elegant operation? Well, the answer is a fantastic little method called entries. The way I like to think about it is that this command transforms your static, boring list of data into what you can think of as a live data stream. It's a much more powerful way to access your information. Now, what entries actually gives you back is this special object called an array iterator. Just think of it like a precision tool. It goes through your array and generates this perfect manifest, creating a neat little pair for every single item, its coordinate, the index, and its cargo, which is the value itself. So how do you actually fire this thing up? Well, the command structure couldn't be simpler, which, is always the sign of some really good engineering. Let's take a look. That is literally it. You just call .entries right on your array. Now, this next part is absolutely crucial to understand. This command doesn't just make a copy of your array. No. Instead, it gives you that special iterator object we were just talking about, that live stream, all primed and ready for you to start pulling data from. Okay, so to really get a feel for how this stream works, let's run a little simulation. Imagine we're programming a turbolift, and we need to announce each step as we arrive. We're going to request the data from our stream manually, just one step at a time. This is where it gets really interesting. So first, we've got our simple array of destinations, right? Turbolift stops. Then we call .entries on it, and we create our iterator, which we're calling deck manifest. Now, the stream is technically live, but notice, nothing has actually happened yet. And this is the fascinating part. The iterator is, well, it's kind of lazy. It's just sitting there waiting for your command. It won't give you any data until you explicitly ask for it using the .next command. So let's go ahead and request that first stop and see what we get. And boom, there it is. We get this perfect little package. The coordinate, deck 0, and the cargo, bridge. That is exactly the info our turbolift needs, delivered precisely when we asked for it. Okay, the turbolift's moving. Let's ask for the next stop on our manifest. We'll just call .next one more time. And there you have it. The iterator remembered exactly where it was in the stream and delivered the very next entry, deck 1, sickbay. This ability to maintain its own state, to remember its position, that's what makes this thing so powerful. Now, doing things manually is great for understanding the concept, but in a real-world scenario, say running diagnostics on the warp coils, you need automation. Let's see how the entries protocol absolutely shines when we put it on autopilot. So check this out. When you combine entries with a modern for-of loop, the whole process becomes incredibly clean. The loop automatically calls .next for us behind the scenes on every pass, and, this is the best part, it lets us immediately pull apart that pair, the coordinate and the cargo, into their own separate variables. Here, we're calling them coil index and efficiency. So what's the big deal? Well, our diagnostic instantly flagged a problem. But because we used entry zeros, we know so much more than just that a coil is failing. We know exactly which one, coil number 2. That's the difference between just having information and having actionable intelligence. Okay, to really master this, you have to understand this one fundamental concept. The iterator you create, it is not the same thing as your original array. They're two totally different things with different jobs. Think of it this way. Your array is like a static box of data. It's the full cargo manifest, just sitting there in the computer's memory. The iterator, on the other hand, is dynamic. It's kind of like a ghost or a pointer. It doesn't hold a copy of all the data. It just holds one tiny piece of information. What's the next item I need to grab? That's why it's so memory efficient. It's not a whole new book. It's just a bookmark. So, let's wrap this up. Why is this modern way of doing things considered such a huge upgrade over the older, kind of clunky methods we used to use? I'm sure this looks familiar. The classic for loop. I mean, it works, right? But you have to manually create a counter, you have to check the length on every single iteration, and then you have to use that counter to go get the item. It's just, there are a lot of moving parts. and it leaves a lot of room for silly mistakes, like the dreaded off-by-one error. By contrast, using the entries method is just superior engineering. Your code becomes so much cleaner and way more readable at a glance. It completely eliminates whole categories of common bugs, and most importantly, it creates this direct, unbreakable link between the coordinate and its cargo, which is exactly what you need for reliable, clear code. So, you've got this powerful new tool in your engineering kit now. The question I want to leave you with is this. Now that you know how to create and use these live data streams, what other systems, what other parts of your code could you make safer, more efficient, and more intelligent? Think about it.